making a butts and face. Quit making a butts and face.
I don't know, but it's written all over the house. Hi, everybody. This is Uta Uta, the human blockhead at your service. Okay, people, I'm about to tell you something real bad and scary. Back in the 70s when I was in 5th grade, living in Pound Ridge, New York on Rolling Meadow Lane. My next door neighbors, Larry, Brian, Elaine, and Silas Smith, were the victims of a burglary while they were home at the time, caught in the shard of terror. They were in the living room sewing cards, but soon their hands were sewed to their head. The burglars showed up and tied their hands to their head. So Brian and Larry and Silas Smith were scared and struggling hard, and they were making noises that sounded like this. That's right, they were suffering hard. As I was walking down the street with my feet tied to my head, while the Smiths were tied, the burglars stole their jewelry and china and silverware and tube steaks smothered in underwear. Then they got hungry and made a snack in the fridge while the city sewer rat with a flat top sang, as I was walking down the street, my feet tied to my head. Larry Smith struggled to dial 911, but it took a while. While the burglars were making lunch and munching out, 911 was finally struck on the phone. And after that, Elaine and Larry and Silas Smith were parading through the kitchen to the living room and dining room, parading with their hands tied to their head, making noises that sounded like That's what I said. And never mind that wait. By this time, sirens were heard, heading down Trinity Pass and down a rolling metal lane to handle the disturbance at the house. The sewer rat with the flat top from the city with a flat top and his accomplices who migrate from New York City to the suburbs to burglarize homes and steal all the china, silverware, VCRs, and tube steaks smothered in underwear. I never mind the ways. That's what I say. Says Elaine, Larry, Brian, and Silas Smith still marching from the kitchen to the dining room with their hands tied to their head. That's the only sound they make, thinking I have to release a hot load. Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Down bust the door, the blue meanies arrive. Freeze, says Officer Suet to the bandits. This is admissible, shackles them, leads them into the truck, where they're screaming out obscenities at the Smiths as they got carted to the Devil's Island permanently. Larry and Brian and Silas Smith have bought burglar alarms since the incident, and right after that became Republicans. Harder. Century 21 bought and sold that house on Rolling Meadow Lane long since the newcomers had occupied the place. The place ain't quite the same, and the sounds are still heard, and echoes of the tied-up family remain like this. those sounds are still heard. What I say.
Making a button face.